We're going to do a longer study of the seals, the trumpets, the two witnesses, and Matthew 24 today because there's a lot of confusion out there. And I'm going to give my interpretation of it. Now, granted, I'm not perfect either, but I'll try to make the best sense of it as I can. Now, Jesus in Matthew 24 is asked about the end. So, you think Jesus would know pretty well. So, I'll go off of what Jesus says. So, let's start there. See if it aligns with the seals. What does he say first? Matthew 24, verse 5. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. Okay? Sounds like Antichrist, right? There's going to come people saying they're Jesus that are going to deceive many. Let's look at the first seal. I saw a lamb open one of the seals, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow, and a crown was given unto him, and he went forth conquering and to conquer. Well, this isn't Jesus. We see Jesus at the end in chapter 19. So this sounds like a deceiver, bringing peace through conquering. So that sounds like the first seal there. Let's go to this. Let's go on. Matthew 24. You shall hear of wars, rumors of wars. See that you not be troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Nation shall rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom. See if that sounds like something. Let's go to the second seal. Saw him open the second seal, and behold, come and see, there went another horse that was red. Power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, not they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. It sounds like what we just read. Nation's going to rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom. Wars and rumors of wars. There's the second seal. Let's see the third one. We had opened the third seal. I heard the third beast say, come and see. Lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou not hurt the oil and the wine. See what Matthew 24 says. And there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginnings of sorrows. That sounds like what we just read in the third seal. It's going to be famines, pestilences. Let's go to the fourth seal. When he had opened the fourth seal, I heard the fourth beast say, come see. Said, behold, a pale horse, and him that sat on him was death, and hell followed him. Powers given over unto him over a fourth part of the earth to kill with the sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with beasts of the earth. Okay. Let's see what Matthew 24 says. And they shall deliver you up to be afflicted, shall kill you, and you shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. That sounds like we just read what we just read in the fourth seal. It's going to be affliction. Death and hell is coming. Power is given to him over a fourth of the earth to kill. With all those things. Let's see what the fifth seal says. When he had opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar the souls of them that were slain. So it's basically just the aftermath of the fourth seal. They cried with a loud voice, saying, how long, O Lord, holy and true, dost thou not avenge our blood? These are the people that basically repented after, when the affliction of the first 4 seals had come, these people had repented and they want their blood avenged. White robes were given unto them. We call them, tribulation saints, basically. They weren't raptured, but they go through part of this tribulation and they repent. So, again, Matthew 24, they shall deliver you up to be afflicted, shall kill you, shall be hated of all nations, and shall many be offended, and betray one another, and hate one another. Many false prophets shall arise and deceive many, because iniquity shall abound. The love of many shall wax cold, but that shall endure unto the end shall be saved. This gospel of the kingdom shall be preached unto in all the world for a witness unto all the nations, and then the end shall come. So this uh, sounds like the first half of the tribulation, is what it sounds like. Because in verse 15 it says, "When you see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet standing in the holy place, then flee." That's going to happen at the middle of the tribulation. So you get to the sixth seal and it says, "Behold, sixth seal, great earthquake, and the sun became as black cloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. The stars of heaven fell into the earth. Heaven departed as a scroll. Islands are moved. Kings of the earth, kings of the earth, great men, rich men, chief captains, mighty men, every bondman, every free man, hid themselves in the dens and the rocks of the mountains. Says, fall on us, for the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand?" That sounds like basically the great tribulation is coming at this point. So again, all this sounds like you could take the first six seals and go from Matthew 24 verse 5 to verse 15, 16, even 17, or on all the way up until verse 25, 26 is talking about the first half of the tribulation. And then, so after that, you got to figure, all right, so he has a scroll in his hand, and the scroll's sealed with 7 seals. So you can't see inside the scroll until the seals are opened, right? It's sealed. So, though when it talks about these seals, it's just giving a summary, a real basic overview of it. When you go into the next part of it, well, you see in chapter 7 all the angels are standing at the four corners of the earth, holding the four winds back, and then the 144,000 are sealed, and there's the multitude in white robes, which are saved. More tribulation saints that repented. But then the trumpet judgments come. And another thing about those 144,000, we see after, well, we see it in Matthew 24 verse 31, "He shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet. They shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other." What does it say in Revelation 7? "I saw the four angels standing at the four corners of the earth, holding the four winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth," and basically until they're sealed. So what's going to happen? The angels are holding the four winds back until these 144,000 are sealed. Matthew 24 says, "He shall send his angels with the great sound of a trumpet. They shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other." So these are being gathered. I don't think they even made it. they didn't come to faith even during the first half of the tribulation. These are going to be gathered during the last half, the last 3.5 years of the tribulation, right? That's, I think that's exactly what the scripture says. Now, by the time you get to the trumpets, all the seals have been opened, right? So, now that all the seals have been opened, now we can see inside the scroll. And now you get to the trumpets. And what do we see with the trumpets? Is the trumpets in the first half, or are they in the second half? I think this is still in the first half. It's just now he's reading inside the scroll. Now he can see inside the scroll, because we see the two witnesses in chapter 11, and they are going to prophesy, it says in verse 3, for 1,260 days. When are they going to do this? It's going to be during the first half of the tribulation, because Satan kills them at the midpoint. We know the Antichrist takes charge at the middle of the tribulation and rules for the last 3.5 years. It wouldn't make any sense for them to prophesy for the last 3.5 years. So they're going to prophesy for the first 3.5 years. And if you look at chapter 11, verse 6 of Revelation, it says, these have power to shut the heavens that it rain not in the day of their prophecy, and they have power over the waters to turn them to blood, to smite the earth with all the plagues. Let's look at the trumpets. The first angel sounded. There followed hail and fire mingled with blood. And they were cast upon the earth. And the third part of the trees were burnt up, and all the green grass was burnt up. What did it say the two witnesses do? They have power that rain not in the days of their prophecy, powers over the waters and turn them to blood, and smite the earth with all the plagues. So they have power to turn the waters to blood. I saw fire mingled with blood. A third part of the trees were burned up, and all the green grass was burnt up. Second trumpet. I saw, as it were, a great mountain burning with fire and cast into the sea. A third part of the sea became blood. Again, what do the two witnesses do? They turn the waters to blood and smite the earth with all the plagues. Third trumpet. I saw a great star fall from heaven, burning as it were a lamp, and it fell upon the third part of the rivers and the third part of the fountains of the waters. Third part of the waters came as wormwood. Many men died. Fourth trumpet. Third part of the sun was smitten. Third part of the moon. Third part of the stars. So as the third part of them was darkened, and the day shone not for a third part of it, and the night likewise. And on and on and on. I mean, what are going on in these trumpets sounds exactly like what the two witnesses are able to do. These have power to shut the heaven that it rain not in the days of their prophecy, and have power over the waters to turn them to blood, and to smite the earth with all the plagues as often as they will. So I believe that the trumpets are happening in the first half of the tribulation. And the two witnesses are the ones that are able to smite the earth with all the plagues and turn the waters to blood and all that stuff that they're able to do. So, again, they prophesy during the first half of the tribulation. We see those plagues that they're doing are those trumpet judgments. The seals, up to the sixth seal. Oh, yeah. Seal 1 to seal 6 are talking about the first half of the tribulation. And then seventh seal's opened. All the seals are opened. You can see inside the scroll. Then it starts talking about the trumpets. All the trumpets sound. The two witnesses did all their prophesied during this time. And then by chapter 11, you see the two witnesses, but then the beast comes, right? That last 7 head, 10 horns comes. That's basically starting the last half of the tribulation. You see in chapter 12, the final part of the final mention of the first half is the woman, which is the remnant of Israel. She's going to flee into the wilderness. And then right when that happens, the dragon basically tries to devour her, doesn't get to her, and then goes to attack everyone else that hasn't yet repented. And so from that point on, it's talking about the last half of the tribulation. The beast of the sea, beast of the earth. This is all the last half of the tribulation. You start to see the mark of the beast come. That's the last half of the tribulation. All the vials, the 7 last plagues, chapter 15, Revelation, until you get to chapter 19, which is the return of Jesus. So that's my explanation of the seals, the trumpets, the two witnesses, the remnant of Israel. That's all the first 3.5 years of the tribulation. After that, you see the mark of the beast come. You see the 7 heads, 10 horns, the beast kingdom. And they all come, basically establish themselves right at that midpoint, and they rule for that last 3.5 years. And again, I mean, if you look at Matthew 24, it kind of explains all that, you know. From Matthew 24 verse 4 to 29, even, yeah, again, how I explained it earlier, you're going to see the abomination of desolation. That's verse 15. That's basically that starts, or that ends that first half. By 29, it says, you know, the sun shall be darkened, the moon shall not give her light, the stars shall fall from heaven, powers of the earth shall be shaken. This is just all explaining, just as Revelation said, it's explaining the timeline of when all these things are happening, and it lines up perfectly. And that's my interpretation of it. So thank you for watching.